What is going on, everybody? Welcome back. We just got in. I've had it for about 2 days now. We got it in the Steam Deck. And I've been very excited for this device. Looking forward to it a lot. I've been looking forward to the Steam Deck more than a lot of devices, more than anything in recent memory. Like, I've had a PS5 since launch. Great machine, love it. But when it came in, I'm just like, cool. It did what I was expecting. It's a better version of my PS4. You know, I knew what to expect. With the Steam Deck, there is so many question marks, so many things. I'm just like, man, can it do this? I wonder how it does that. Like, as someone who loves to tinker, as someone who loves tech, this is genuinely something new and, like, completely a game changer that we haven't seen anything like it quite before. And I've had it for a couple days, put it through some tests, played all kinds of different things on it, and I just want to give you guys my my 2 cents, my first couple days kind of impressions on how we're doing with the deck. So the very first game I tested set a very high bar because I knew this game was going to run very well because the RE engine is amazing. I played Resident Evil 2 Remake, one of my favorite games of like the last 10 years. This game is amazing and it runs gloriously on the deck. Again, RE engine, super optimized, great for low-end hardware, and then it even scales really well to high-end hardware. It's so good, man. And it freaking runs at like a solid 60, and you don't even really need to make too many compromises. Like, it pretty much, I booted up and I wanted to see how it played without even touching any of the settings, without even touching any of that shit. Where am I at? And it was very good. It didn't hold like a straight 60, so I did go in and adjust some settings. I'm still playing at native resolution and really just dialing it down from like high to certain things to medium, and it holds a locked 60 and it looks so good. Like, that's what you gotta understand when you're lowering the settings, because the screen is so small. Sometimes the difference is not even noticeable unless you're like really scrutinizing every little detail heavily. So RE2 Remake, great first impression, set the bar really high. And pretty much any of the RE engine games, that's like Resident Evil 7, Resident Evil Village, Devil May Cry 5, like, these are great games to play on the deck. They're so well optimized. Definitely ones I would recommend you guys check out. Another thing here that I want to point out, like in the lead up to the deck's launch, I looked at a lot of videos on YouTube and stuff to see how certain things ran and sort of see what settings people were using and certain tricks with like the FSR and resolution scaling that you can do. But one thing I really want to stress is when I was looking at YouTube videos is that the screen actually looks a lot better than it does on camera. I think like when you're capturing a screen off camera, it really doesn't capture like the picture clarity or the vibrancy. It actually looks so much better in person than like the footage that I'm showing you guys now. I played some Dark Souls on it. Dude, if you're a Souls fan, this console is going to be a treat. I've loaded up Dark Souls 2 and 3, but even Dark Souls 1 runs really well on it. And then, of course, Elden Ring. Like, goddamn, people are playing Elden Ring on this thing, and it runs them all very well. It runs Elden Ring way better than it should be able to. Like, it's kind of ridiculous. And even Sekiro, like, if you're a Souls fan, the Steam Deck, woo boy, it is a great device for playing those games. Another thing I want to note is, like, I booted up Resident Evil 2, for instance, right? First of all, I love that, like, all of my Steam games were just there. Like, I can't stress that enough. I love the Switch. The Switch is fantastic, but they're different devices and they're marketed towards different people. But one thing I gotta say I loved about the deck is that I booted up Resident Evil 2 and my save file, it was there. I didn't have to do anything. I didn't have to think about it. It was just the cloud sync was just there. You can start playing on your PC, right? Because I just bought a 3070 Ti like a few weeks ago. I could start playing something on my rig, my main desktop rig, then go take a shit, and then play it on the Steam Deck. And it's just fucking, it works. It's ridiculous how good it is. Now, not every game does support the cloud save, so just keep that in mind. Dark Souls 3, for instance, for whatever reason, does not support cloud saves. That's not any fault of Valve or the Steam Deck or anything like that. From Software, I guess, just did not want to implement that for Dark Souls 3. They just said no. So just something to keep in mind. Here's Dead Space 2 running on the deck. I wanted to test out not only newer stuff, but some older stuff as well. Because something that was like designed for Windows 7, you're running in like compatibility mode on Windows 10 or whatever. So I want to see how like the Steam Deck handled that. And it really performed really well, like so seamlessly playing Dead Space 2 and booting it up. It was all good, which is great because sometimes like older games, you'll have to go in and tweak some settings, all that kind of stuff, and expect to do that with the deck, right? Definitely expect to do that with the deck. Like I played here Witcher 2, and The Witcher 2 has like a dedicated launcher. So what I needed to do to get The Witcher 2 to actually boot up properly is I need to start it up in desktop mode, go in, apply my settings, then I could actually start it up in Steam OS. So definitely expect things like that. I think the Steam Deck is great for people who know how to tinker, know how to problem solve, know their way around a PC. That's why I definitely think that the Steam Deck is for such a different audience than the Nintendo Switch. Like the Nintendo Switch or whatever, you don't even have to think about it. All your settings, it's already there. It's really not comparable to a console. It's a very niche handheld PC. You're gonna need to be able to problem solve and tweak settings and all this kind of stuff and understand what they do, understand the resolutions and understand resolution scaling to really get the most out of it. I'm also a person, I have no intention of installing Windows 10 on this. I know you can, I know it's an option, that's great. But I'm actually really impressed with Steam OS. I think it works incredibly well and the interface is very good. And there's so many things you can do in Steam OS that you can't do in Windows. Such as like the suspend game feature and all that kind of stuff. So I think the Steam Deck is definitely at its best when it's just running its native Steam OS. And that's how I'm gonna keep it. That's just me. What other games did I test out? Here is Fallout New Vegas running on the Steam Deck. Another fantastic use case. God damn, dude. All of the Fallout games, Fallout 3, Fallout 4, you can play them all. New Vegas, one of my personal favorites. Again, it loaded up my save, but it might be time for a new run of Fallout New Vegas. Such a great game, dude. And it's also max settings, running at 60 frames per second. So good. Again, just testing out some older stuff. This is Sonic All-Star Racing Transformed. Such a good game, dude. I love kart racers. I tested out Burnout Paradise. Fantastic game. Do what's really funny is I played so much Burnout Paradise. Might be my most played might be my most played Steam Deck game so far. Just because like, alright, I just want to turn my brain off and do some shit for like 30 minutes before I go to sleep. Fantastic game for that. Obviously it's going to be great for indies. This is Panzer Paladin. Such an amazing game, by the way. If you guys haven't played it, you should check it out. I'm terrible at it, but it's a really good game. And then the guilty pleasures, dude. I love ETS, and this is me playing American Truck Simulator. So good, dude. Don't judge it, don't knock it. Like ETS 2 and American Truck Simulator, for some reason, they're kind of like performance heavy. They don't run great. Like I don't know if it's a CPU or GPU thing. So I ended up just playing this on medium settings, locked at 30. Which is a compromise you might have to make on a lot of newer games, to be honest with you. I know we're kind of spoiled from playing at 60 frames per second, but when you're playing on a dedicated handheld, you know, some compromises are going to be made, and your eyes will eventually adjust to 30. And I actually think this game runs just fine at 30 frames per second. But what's really cool, from my understanding, Valve is going to apply a 40 hertz kind of update, which will allow you to lock games at 40 hertz. Which is 40 frames per second, which might not sound that good, but it is actually a pretty large step up from 30 frames per second. Feels a lot better than 30 frames per second, because it is like a 33% increase in frame rate. So for those games that don't quite hold 60, I think 40 will be a really good compromise. Also, goddamn, I played some Witcher 3. I saw footage of some people playing Witcher 3, and I'm just like, there's no way this game actually runs this good on the deck. And yeah, it runs amazing on the deck. I don't know what kind of bullshit, sorcery. Like this game, they got it working on Switch, so of course it's gonna work on the deck. But Jesus, dude, it looked and played and felt really good. Way better than it ought to. And definitely, oh man, you can buy this game for dirt cheap now. You can get like the Game of the Year edition for almost like $10 when it goes on sale. And an absolute no-brainer. This is definitely a good reason. I didn't even finish Blood and Wine. God damn. So this is definitely a good reason for me to go back and finish the Blood and Wine expansion. I also tried out some emulation. The only emulation I've tried so far was just some GameCube, because Dolphin Emulator is amazing. And yep, it's amazing on the deck. And it's awesome because, like, you know, if you want to, like, put an emulator on one of your devices or put a ROM on one of your devices, you know, you'd have to go and get the ROM and transfer it over and do all this horse shit. The Steam Deck is a computer. You can set it all up within the deck itself. No problems. And the setup was very easy. Everything just worked. Again, I just tested it out. Just default settings. I'm not even going to fuck with anything. Let's just boot it up and let's see how it goes. And here's me playing Mario Kart Double Dash, and it was so easy to do, so easy to set up, and it ran at a perfect, like, 60 frames per second, felt good, sounded great. My goodness. Also going to be a great handheld for emulators. But that's it, everybody. That's my first few days with the deck. Very, very pleased with it. It kind of does everything that I wanted it to do. Do I think it's for everybody? No, I don't. I think, you know, if you're looking for something easy to wrap your head around and easy to just dive in and play, the deck might not be that for you right now. But for the people who will like it, I think they're gonna fucking love it. And I fucking love it. I think if you're someone who likes to tinker with settings, if you're somebody who is already invested in Steam, I have like 800 games in my Steam library, then I think the deck is freaking amazing. Anyways, everybody, that is it. Thanks so much for watching. Peace.